All right, I think it's now a ritual to say that, we will be coming up with one or the other webinar in one of these evenings, and that is exactly what is happening today as well. My team has just mentioned that we have gone live, and we have gone live with these very dynamic and young students that I have with me today. Uh, uh, Guys, sorry, whoever has the on, please switch that off on YouTube. Yeah, uh, right now we are sitting here. You can see these 4 students sitting right here. And I will tell you a little more about these 4 students. Rather, they will tell about themselves, right? These are the students from a newbie school that has come up in the block, that is Masters Union. And when we actually, published a video some time back on Masters Union, there was a lot of concern, there was a lot of speculations, there was a lot of doubts that were there, right? Some of you guys actually commented with your questions. Some of you guys were not sure about the B school and its credibility. So to put to rest about these speculations, about the doubts that you have in mind, we thought what better to talk to, who better to talk to than the students themselves who have taken part in this B school, and understand from them as to what their thought process was, right? And so to do that, I have today with me Nusha, Aditya, Dipankar, and Vivek, who are the current students of the institute, who can ask you, who you can ask the questions that you have in your mind, the answers for which you were looking for, and get your queries solved. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us in today. I'm hoping that you guys can address as many questions as you can through this chat that we have in place. Also, we have received a few questions as well from the people who are going to be part of this conversation. Before we start our conversation, very quick introductions from all of you. If you can start, Nusha. Nusha, go ahead, please. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. Nusha, you have to unmute yourself.
Is it audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Nusha. Yes, I'm from Tamil Nadu. I pursued BCom honors from SRCC. And I've also been a general secretary of the ideation cell, which is the startup cell of the SRCC. Now, right after that, I started working in a hospitality in the healthcare sector as an operations and a digital marketing manager. And right after that, now I'm in Masters Union, as you all know, and I'm the sports president of the Masters Union here.
Lovely. Great to have you here, Nusha. Aditya, you can go next.
Thank you, team. Thank you for having us. And I hope everyone is safe out there. My name is Aditya Kumar. I've been born and brought up in Delhi. I completed my undergrad in statistics from Delhi University. Post that, I went to pursue Young India Fellowship from Ashoka University. And in past 5 years, I've worked in multiple domains, starting from fintech and edtech. I worked with Upgrad and Clix Capital. Right now, I'm pursuing my MBA at Masters Union, and right now, I'm also part of the MUIF fund. I'm leading a position as an investment manager. At my personal front, I love to read books, and I'm also a mixed martial artist.
Oh, lovely. I should be a little afraid from Aditya then. Great. Vivek, you go next.
Hi, thank you for having us here, Paul, and the entire team of Inside IIM. My name is Vivek Belwariar. Before joining Masters Union program, 2 years I've worked as in the financial advisory sector, where I was focused towards private equity sales side and corporate finance. Prior to that, 2 years I was associated with HDFC Bank as a credit manager. Here at Masters Union, I'm part of the FinTech Club, in fact, heading the FinTech Club as the president. I'm also a part of the Masters Union Innovations Lab, which nurtures and encourages entrepreneurs and startups. And I'm working there as a head of partnerships and relationships.
I'm scared with you for a very different reason, Vivek, because you're part of the FinTech group. Yeah, Dipankar, go ahead.
Sure. Good evening, and thank you for having us here. So I'm Dipankar Mathur. I'm from Jaipur. I did my undergraduate in electronics and communications from Thapa University. Post my undergrad, I have worked with JP Morgan Chase and ZS Associates for roughly 3 years. And here I am doing a master's at Masters Union.
Right. I can safely say I'm not scared of Dipankar, and hence I will start with Dipankar. I have this question for all of you guys, and I want you to, address this. When you were considering your B school, preferred B school choice, what happens is we take into account a lot of things, right? We see what ranking that B school has, what sort of alumni they have, how many years of experience they have in the market. Masters Union did not have any of those. What made you choose Master Union then?
Sure. So, while I was choosing my B school, I had two main points that which were on top of my priority. So one was that I wanted to do something different from the conventional MBAs that are offered all around the world. And the second was that I want to upskill myself and stay relevant, not just for the next 4 or 5 years, but for the long journey, for the 30 years time span. And that's when I realized that technology will play a very, very important role in how businesses in the future. So that's when I realized that Masters Union is the best choice, offering both MBA in technology and business management.
Right. Vivek, what about you?
For me as well, the similar points. Again, talking about curriculum, understanding the different curriculum and the uniqueness of the entire curriculum offered by Masters Union was one of the major factors why I chose Masters Union. Apart from that, the kind of industry connects that they have, that is a lot of acceptance that you get, the maximum acceptance that you can get from the industry. When the masters themselves are coming and teaching here in campus and interacting with the students. Plus the kind of opportunity that you get once you interact with so many masters, the personal conversations that you have. So that is something which is out of the blue. I mean, no college can offer at the moment right now. So
right. Yeah. Aditya, what was your thought process? Were you also considering Master Union because of the reasons that Dipankar and Vivek mentioned, or there were other reasons too for you?
So honestly, I was planning to pursue my MBA from abroad, but unfortunately, Corona happened, and so I was looking out for different opportunities, where we can go, but then that's where Master Union came into the picture, and for me, my personal interest was because they offered a corpus of 5 CR as a MUIF fund, and I've been a public investor for almost 8 years. That was something very interesting, which I felt that any university who's allowing you to invest money in that to 5 CR is not just giving you money, but it's also giving you responsibility. It's also giving an area where you can learn and grow yourself. So I think that was my major, point which I considered to join Masters Union, along with all the other points which my other fellows have mentioned.
Right. Nusha, how did you discover Masters Union?
Right. So to be honest, I did not even have an idea of pursuing MBA. But after I came across Masters Union, of course, what Vivek and Dipankar said, the curriculum which Masters Union offer, the mentorship which Masters Union offer, also the networking, which probably happens really good in Masters Union. So this was one of the few things which I really wanted to pursue something from in Masters Union.
Lovely. Guys, now that you are part of this particular institute, I think a month back, there was a lot of news, there were a lot of numbers that were, being circulated. We saw a lot of these numbers, and I got calls personally from people saying that, is this bluff? Are they doing something that we are not seeing? So did you also get questions around this?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that a lot of people also reached out to us on LinkedIn and on different social media platform for that matter. And again, people were more concerned, okay, how a new B school, that to first year of inception, they reported such a good number, which surpasses all the other top B schools in the country. But again, all the conversation that we have had with a lot of people, the same thing goes everywhere. The number comes because of the uniqueness of the curriculum. So basically, the numbers are the byproduct that you can expect. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else who wants to take a stab on this? Any story that you have of this crazy experience that you have had?
I think all of us were flooded with when the messages in LinkedIn after the report was launched. Like we used to get crazy messages. Of course, is this even true, or are we just creating marketing and stuff? But yeah, this was my situation. This is what happened with me. This was one of my experiences.
I think for me, it was very. For me, I think it was very interesting because I was getting a lot of requests from former entrepreneurs and people who are actually exploring the field of entrepreneurship, and that was something very thoughtful for me. How people who are building stuff they're looking forward to get some sort of understanding that how technology can probably empower their business, or probably empower them, to have those skills which can create huge impact. And I think I've had really good conversations with people who are reaching out to us.
Right. And what is the kind of mix when we talk about the batch that you have at Masters Union? Do you all guys have some sort of work experience, and you have experience, and then you rope yourself in for this kind of program?
So, talking about the diversity factor, right? So, we have a very, very diverse cohort. We have people from engineers, of course, like all the B schools. But apart from that, engineers comprise only 50% of our cohort. Rest 50% is more like commerce students. We have multiple CAs. Then we have graduates from literature. We have graduates from statistics, BCom, and so it's a very, very diverse cohort. And apart from education diversity, we have people from all over the India. Like we have people from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, all coming in together, bringing all their cultures and everything. So each and every festival, be it if we were not even aware of, it is being celebrated in Masters Union because all these cultures have come together in one campus.
Right. One of the YouTube comments that we received asked this very particular question. It said that even if I believe that this particular education institute is providing an education that is truly revolutionary, isn't the crop of students at an IIM just simply far better, considering the incredibly tough vetting process to get an admit? What is your take on that? What was your admit was like, when the process of admission was like, and how do you want to go about answering this question? Anybody who wants to go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry for hijacking the call, guys. I would like to really answer that. So when the first cohort joined and when we joined, we did not have any placement report. None of the batches knew what kind of companies will be coming, what kind of packages will be offering. Yet they joined. And they joined for the sole one purpose that we want to learn. That was the whole objective. And a lot of people, in our education system talk about that it needs to get updated. It's not industry relevant. And while Masters Union is trying to revolutionize the Indian education system, but a lot of people still have that mindset that education is a pathway for a good package. Correct. However, they should also change their mindset that Master's education is a pathway to learning and self-growth. Packages, salaries, they are a byproduct of that. So still the college is being judged like how good a placement it has. They are being judged on that, which I think people should also evolve. And regarding the vetting, coming to the question, so Masters Union have a cohort of 60, right? And a lot of applications were which came from Masters Union, out of which only 60 were selected, and each was handpicked by the admission team and the masters. So these people are vetted by the CXOs of different industries. So if each and every candidate is being vetted by a CXO, I think that pretty much qualifies that, okay, people here are at par with IIM. And regarding the percentile cutoffs, I and multiple of my peers have more than 99 percentile in CAT, and yet we chose Masters Union just for the learning perspective.
I think adding on to his point, I think so MBA is like, you have to see it from a perspective that, for any outcome, right, there's an input, then there's a data processing, and that leads to an output. So at Masters Union, they don't only focus on just on academics. Yes, academics play an important role, but they look at multiple aspects of who you are. Why do you want to come here? What do you aspire to go? Where do you aspire to go from here, right? Based on that, you come here, you get the hands-on learning. You get learning which is extremely relevant in the industry. It is not just about the theoretical skills what you're doing. You're actually being taught and introduced to so many different tools which are which comes really handy to you while you're working. And I think that all of those mix eventually leads to an outcome which somehow unfortunately is reflected as a placement outcome.
Which leads me to the next question that one of another YouTube commenter had, which is this B school, which is an education institute, or is it a startup?
So,
sure. Please go ahead. Carry on, Aditya.
Yeah. So I would say it's not just a startup, it's an education institute, which works like a startup, I would say. Why I'm saying is because things are really fast, right? Things are moving really fast. We have a very strong feedback loop wherein, whatever we are, whatever we feel that needs to be corrected or whatever needs to be done, the management is very, receptive to feedback and they get things done. And while we are studying here, it's not just focusing towards, how and what they have thought that what we should go through. They understand from us that how things can get better and how we can continuously improve on ourselves.
Right. Vivek, you wanted to add something?
No, absolutely. To the same point, what Aditya mentioned, that I would say it's a mix of both an educational institute as well as a startup. I mean, the kind of energy that you see, the team is also really young. So they've been really supportive throughout every single initiative that every student wants to take here. Right. So, I mean, like the previous month, we organized for the FinTech Club, we organized a 54-hour business prototype challenge, and the kind of support that we got from the management, just for the sake that, okay, students wants to do something. So we got a lot of support. So that also plays a really good part in defining, okay, an educational institute plus a startup. And like, yeah, as Aditya mentioned, that they have a very strong system of getting feedbacks. So after every session, we'll get anonymous feedback forms. That what did you learn about the session? What were the deliverables? Were the delivery and the content you felt right or not? So these all things, I would say, if you look at from a startup perspective, it plays a really good, gives you a really good signal that the school is also keen on understanding and correcting wherever they're going wrong. So it goes in their best interest as well, that the students are getting hands-on experience of tools as well as on the content as well.
Right. At this point, I will take one question from the YouTube audience who's asking questions on the chat box. Ankur is asking, I wanted to take Akash's question, which says, my question is specifically for Vivek and Nusha. I'm a BCom graduate. Akash wants to know what kind of questions can I expect from my educational background in B-School interview. So anything related to that happened to you, Nusha or Vivek?
Vivek, do you want
to take it first?
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, so there's no such expectation since you come from a BCom background or something. It's just, they'll mostly ask about the background and they'll throw some situation which is related to what you have pursued earlier. So be strong in that. Nothing related to technology will be asked, so don't worry. If whatever it is, after you come, definitely our masters will teach you. So be confident and just give the exam, the MU BAT or the interview. That's it.
Right. Vivek, you wanted to add something?
No, absolutely. The more or less, Nusha covered everything. During the interview, my experience also revolved around where masters and the interviewer were asking me about my prior experience. If you're a fresher, then expect more questions around what you did during your college life. Did you participate in events, in competitions, or were you part of some club? So yeah, expect questions around that.
Perfect. At this point, I want to remind people who are listening to this conversation, do join in, send this particular conversation's link to people who you think might have questions as well. You can ask these questions to these people who are present here. They are currently undergoing the program. They'll be able to solve your queries and answers. And that's exactly why we are having this webinar. So do use this opportunity up. Okay, moving on, every college nowadays claims that they have practitioners who are coming in and they're teaching, right? When I say every college, it's a fad now, right? And you see people from different sectors coming in and teaching, and some people are saying that they're bored of their corporate jobs and that's why they are coming and teaching at B schools. So in this kind of a scenario, how is Masters Union different according to your opinion?
Sure. I like to take that one. Masters, I'm not sure about how other B schools work, but in specifically Masters Union, all the masters are given the flexibility to design their own curriculum, design the course structure, and design how they want to teach the students. So this gives them flexibility in terms of how they think the industry is, what industry wants, and how students should be equipped. So, for example, last year, a master was teaching a course on data visualization, how data is, visualized in, how to represent it in a beautiful way to make proper insights to senior management. So last year they were doing it on one particular tool, but when it came to our batch, the master changed the tool because the industry standard changed. So that gave a big flexibility for the master to update the curriculum as and when it is required. So we learn the latest and latest industry standard or industry tool that is required at the moment and might be relevant in future. Secondly, each student has a one-on-one mentorship program with either of the master who is more aligned, whose career trajectory has been more aligned to that student's goal. So that student can reach out to him whenever he wants, like once a week, twice a month, whenever they want to connect and get proper insights about how he should progress in his career, what decisions or how he should take decisions in his life to choose a career or any kind of decision that they want to take. So these two, I think, very unique part of the Master's Union.
Right.
Adding on to Dipankar's point, I would say which college actually teaches a UI, UX and website development in your B school, right? Because there's an industry need and the kind of the course offering what Masters Union provide, it caters to your full understanding of what technology is, what are the different roles in technology being played, and that's been taught by all the industry leaders who come and teach us. And more importantly, there are times where we have classes at like 6:30 in the morning because that master has that specific time, and there are times where we have class at 11 p.m. right? So we align to them because they run on a tight schedule. So there are times where we have to align by ourselves as well, and that's more like a fun for us, yeah.
Correct. But guys, you are talking about masters like Mukund Rajan, Rajat Mathur, Mihir Mankar. These are very busy guys. Do they get the time to come on campus and teach you? And is this like a online lecture that they give and then they vanish? Is that like that?
I think just like what Dipankar mentioned, it's nothing like that. They do come to the campus. Also, the mentors that you mentioned, the industry list that you mentioned now are all mentors. So they have time for it. Whenever we need help, we definitely go seek help from them, and they do give as much of time they can to us. So yeah.
I think apart from just teaching, I think we have a pretty cool campus. It's in the hub of Gurgaon, right? They get to spend enough time in Gurgaon, and so do we, right? So it's not just about the teachings, what they do at the class. It's about the different relation, the opportunity which you get to have conversations with them, understand what's going on, and it's more like a rapport building that that usually I haven't been to any other B school, but I think that is something which is really very special for us.
Right. In terms of curriculum, guys, if I have to ask you separately, what was that one thing that worked out for you guys? You thought that this is definitely I am signing up for, and this will yield results for me in the longer run. Go ahead.
Yeah. So before joining the B school, we had a preterm assessments, right? And one of the preterm assessment was to form group with 5 or 5 of your peers and start a dropshipping business. So it turned out to be a very, very good icebreaker. We learned in and out of proper dropshipping and an e-commerce business, how the supply chain works, how to manage the inventory, how to manage your money, how in revenue comes, what is the cost, everything. And we were given 1 month to achieve maximum revenue. So we pushed all our limits to do social media marketing, generate revenue, manage how everything is working out. So that gave us a very good insight into what we are getting into and what we need to learn and what kind of domain we are actually interested in.
Right.
And also, that gave us an idea like, okay, how comfortable I am working with my peers. So that eventually turned out that out of those my peers, I have co-founded my own startup. So that gave a very good opportunity.
Sure. Anybody else who wants to go on this answer? I am, or otherwise I have a question for you guys that I can take up.
Sure. I think for me, coming from a completely non-tech background, I think all the tech courses, what we have gone through, I think that has given me a lot of understanding that how technology works, like what are the different aspects around it, how you can optimize it, and what are the possibly new technologies which gonna come up in future. I think all those courses are like really fun to go through, and plus it's not just about reading, like you're actually building by yourself. You get stuck somewhere, you have peers, you have folks who know that stuff, they can help you. And it's more about it's about everyone should win. It's not just about that if I know, I will not share. I think that's where the diversity also comes into picture, where you have people who are cheering for you and they want you to win.
Also, guys, MBA is about convincing parents, and that is a question that I have for you. Arijit Chatterjee is asking, since MU offers PGP and not a degree, do you feel that could be a problem in the future? And how did you explain that to your Indian parents?
So yeah,
I'm not making this up. This is a question that has come up. Yeah, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I'd say that I went through the exact same drill, exact same process, not too long ago, but barely 8 to 10 months ago, where I had to speak with my family. Okay, this is the school that I've zeroed down to, and this is the school where I want to go. And a lot of discussion revolved around, okay, why, the moment you decide to enter any B school, what is it that you're going to get out of it? And majorly during that time, during the COVID times, a lot of talks started happening. Okay, what is the skill set that you have? Otherwise, apart from if you don't have a skill set, then again, your value in the industry reduces substantially. So this is the thing. I mean, this is the conversation that I had with my family as well, that these are the skill set that are required in the industry. And by going to this particular school, of course, I'll get hands-on experience of using such tools, using such technologies, basically getting an appreciation towards technology and how to implement this in the business world. Along with that, I'd say the kind of networking opportunities that you also get here was a big plus. Again, for any of the parents, the only question is then going to come out, what is a placement? Right. So I think during my time, the placement report wasn't out yet, but at that time, the internship report was published by the school. And for sure, companies like McKinsey, BCG, Bain coming here and giving internships, these was a good takeoff that, yes, there is an acceptance towards this PGP, TBM, curriculum in the industry. So that was a good checkpoint. Okay, the industry is accepting this curriculum.
Right.
Won't be a problem.
I think for me, I think this was not the first time I was having my conversation with my parents about, this course I'm doing, because similar kind of conversation I did, when I was pursuing Young India Fellowship. They were like, what is Young India Fellowship? What is liberal arts? But eventually, I think they have managed to create their own niche, and it's quite quite respected in the industry as well. So they are aware, that I tend to take decisions which are quite kind of unique. And I think this is where it wasn't that tough for me to tell them, and they're like, do whatever you want to do, what you think is best for you. Till the time you're learning and you're growing, I think we're happy for that.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, only skills and learning is more important than a certificate. So I think people should rather think like that rather than thinking about a certificate.
Absolutely. Viral is asking, what's your take on the essays that you wrote during the admission time? Was there any essay that you wrote, and how did you present yourself that made the cut for you?
So, okay, go ahead, Vivek.
Yeah, sure. So during our time, we did get essay questions during for the application process. I think this year they have changed the questions that was there the previous year. But again, the entire approach of going and writing your essay was, okay, you have to have a logical structure to your essay, represent what you want to say in a logical manner, start your paragraph in a certain manner, have a body, have a conclusion. So it revolved around that. Apart from that, we did have the second essay also, which was an optional, but personally speaking, I decided to take it. That was giving a video answer, recording your own video and uploading it on the YouTube channel, or you share the link within the application form. So I decided to take up that. I would say that that was really a great experience whenever you're talking in front of a camera, then trying to explain yourself. So that was one of the very unique application form that also I came across. Yeah.
Right. Also, there's another question that has come in. It says, can you please explain the curriculum for 16 months? So how does this happen? Why 16 months, and what exactly do you learn in the 16 months?
Sure. I'll start with it. So when you join master's degree, right, we are divided into 8 semesters of 2 months each. In the initial 3 semesters, 2 or 3 semesters, you are taught core concepts of management, like your economics, marketing, stats, operations, by the in-house faculty, which are amazing faculty. And post the 3rd semester, when you have created a base for yourself, then the masters come in and they teach you how they are applying that concept into that industry. So, for example, we had Akash sir teaching us economics in the 1st semester, and then came Mr. Narendra Jadhav, who told that how using those concepts, government is making some decision, how the industry is making that decision. So that's when the masters come in. And after learning the management, we deep dive into other courses like UI UX and how to apply that designing concept, how to apply that Python code. So that comes in. And post your fourth or fifth semester, you dive into internship. And that simultaneously after the internship, your placement is done. You get out of the college. So the whole seamless process of getting a PPO and then continuing your internship into a job gets validated. However, in other B schools, after 2 months internship, you have a 1-year break where companies don't find value. In our case, as soon as you learn in the 2 months internship, you get a PPO, you can start working. So which adds a lot of incentive for the companies because you don't get that break. That's how the 6 months pan out.
I think the way the course structure is designed, the initial terms, most of the subjects, the professor assumes that nobody knows nothing. So they start with ground zero, right? Even if you have done that, if you have, even if you're a CA or you're a statistician or you're an engineer, they assume that you are, starting from the scratch. And that's where the, functional foundation and, functional concepts are taught and are embedded into you, like through different ways, which are more engaging, more group works and live projects, which we do. And then from there, things get picked up. And, as Dipankar mentioned that, how when industry leaders come in, they talk about that, how those concepts are actually implemented in the industry.
Right. Ankur here is asking that, Ankur does not have a programming knowledge or experience. Is it required to have that particular knowledge here because the programs seem to be inclined towards that? So if you guys can help Ankur.
I think Aditya, we all come from, Vivek, I think we all come from a non-tech background.
Yeah,
from BCom to, to a TVM course. So just like what Aditya mentioned, everything will be taught from the scratch. So everything will be taught from the scratch. So do not worry about it. You don't have to have a program knowledge or you have to do a course before you join. It's nothing like that. You will be taught everything from the scratch.
Right. And since we mentioned, go ahead.
Sorry, Paul. One more point. So when very limited number of engineers know coding, a lot of mechanical engineers, chemical engineers don't know coding. And when you join any B school, none of the engineers or anybody know all the subjects. You learn marketing for the first time. You learn finance for the first time. Similarly, when you teach, when you're taught coding, everyone is someone or the other is learning it for the first time. So each and every course is first time for everyone. So I think MBA brings out at the more ground zero to learn all the subjects for everyone.
Right. Okay. Is there any entrance exam that is there for MU at this point? Can you talk about that a little? What is the process and how does it work?
Sure. So for the application process during our times as well as this year as well, so the school is accepting by and large 3 scores, be it your CAT score, your GMAT and GRE. For GMAT, I think it's mentioned on the website what is the score that makes the cut. So it's somewhere around 705 to 710. Apart from that, so you have this option that if you mention all these scores, you are exempted from the MUBAT, which is the entrance test taken by Masters Union. Regardless of that, you have the option of still taking it, but it's advisable that you take it in case if you feel that your score is not good enough and you will be able to perform really well in the MUBAT. So that gives you a mention. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, because you guys mentioned that all of you guys have WorkX, and this maybe is prompting this question in the head of Avinash, saying that is it a good choice for a fresher to be part of Masters Union, and do they have a chance to be part of it?
Sure. So in our batch, we all 4 of us have WorkX, but we do have a lot of our peers who are freshers, and they perform equally well. So they do bring a lot of fresh ideas. Lot more tech savvy in terms of they're more into social media, forming reels on Instagram. They're more equipped with that. So we get to learn a lot from them, and they do get to learn a lot from the experienced folks. So it's nothing like if you don't have WorkX, you should not apply. Everyone should apply.
Right.
I think for me, I think how I see it, and it's very interesting. It's a good question, I would say, because MU stands for diversity, right? And when people like us, who are coming from a WorkX, we come with a lot of biases with us. This is how it's done. This is what I did. This is what this is how it needs to be done. But when there is somebody who can question that with a strong logic, it's not just that that person is questioning. I'm also breaking those barriers. I'm breaking those the biases which are coming along, and that's where I'm also growing. So it's not just I'm learning from professors. people who, who are fresh graduates, they have, strong ideas, they have strong views, and they have good logics. So why not? That's where I think that's where the diversity comes into picture, and diversity trickles down to all the different groups what what you form during those projects. The diversity comes along in all the different committees and clubs what we have, and I think that's a very healthy conversations which build that up.
Right.
And Paul, one more last point that I want to add is the interesting thing is that in our cohort, the youngest person is of 21 years old and the oldest person is 35 years old. So if you see the diversity, it's a single college which can offer both a perspective of a fresher to a perspective of a person having more than 15 years of work life. So we have everyone to learn from.
Lovely. And do you have space for creative people to prosper as well? This is another, by the way, a question coming in from, let me check the name. Shashwat. Shashwat is asking, is it a good idea for someone from a creative field to go to an MBA?
We have a couple of my friends are from creative content writing background, and they are the one who are most valued in our cohort because they have very, very new ideas and how to, how businesses can develop. A lot of people coming from traditional backgrounds have a very set mindset. When creative people come in, they form a very good amalgamation of how future businesses should look. For a very simple example, I can do very good formulas on Excel, but how to beautify it, how to make it presentable, that's coming from a creative mind. So we both can learn from each other, and definitely creative people should definitely apply.
I think for me, like, when you're building any presentation or when you're building any project, right, you want it to look like really good, right? And I think personally, I run after all these people who are, come from a creative background because everyone wants them in their team, irrespective whether you want to create your Instagram handle or whether you want to, create your own PPTs or in Canva. While we can do our work best, but I think whenever the creativity comes into the picture, I think the storytelling and for their ability to to narrate a story through slides, through PPTs, through their ideas, it's mind-boggling. And I think I run for people who I know that I need this person in my team.
Right, absolutely, guys. Very few quick questions that I will do right now because we are getting a lot of queries around that. The first question that I have is there a set cutoff for admissions when it comes to CAT, and is there an option for average freshers to make the cut?
So I think, like Vivek had mentioned earlier, that we accept GRE and GMAT, and as well as I think CAT score. And while we also have a MUBAT optional exam, which if somebody who hasn't given these exams, they can opt for that exam, and that's how they can enter. More or less, I would say the whole process of getting into MU is not just about your academics. It's a complete holistic profile, right? What you have done, why do you want to be here, where do you want to go, and how do you bring value to the diversity, like what value addition you bring onto the peers. I think
so
those
guys,
are the
whoever is listening to this is a very vital advice that Aditya has given you. Make sure that you go through your SOPs that you write when you apply to this particular institute, and understand where do you want to land, and make people understand that who are in the panels. Right. Let's move on to another question. I think that is the one question that I asked you is related to the admissions, and the other is related to the package, right? What is the median package, if you guys have any data around this, and if you can help people understand that?
So I think the median package revolves around the average only, so it's between 20 to 30 lakhs, the median. And the average is 29.12.
Right. All right. And you mentioned that GATE scores are acceptable, but is NMAT acceptable as a score?
No, so GATE is not acceptable, and NMAT is not. We are not accepting NMAT as of now.
Right. So the three exams that you expect accepting, can you name them again?
Sure. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically the three examinations that Masters Union is currently accepting is GMAT, GRE, and CAT scores. So regardless of whether we have taken this exams or not, if you feel that your scores are not good, you can submit your score, and yet you can opt to take the MUBAT exam, which is the entrance exam of Masters Union.
And any tips for prepping for that particular exam?
Going to be a profile-based evaluation. So it's not only about the exams; they have to be the interview should be really good. I mean, the essay which they're working on should also be considered. So it's basic. It's overall the profile-based evaluation. So do not only concentrate on exams. Focus on your essays. Focus on your interview. Also focus on your UBAT mainly.
I think one advice which I would want to give everyone is like, so there are two aspects. Either you are, you're kind of confused, or you're extremely clear. Reflect that out. Like if you're confused, you should not, you should not pretend that you know exactly what you want to do, because eventually somewhere or the other they will catch you, right? If you're faking it, somehow you're gonna get caught. Whoever you are, whatever you think is right, and what you believe who you are, present that. Just be yourself. I think is they're not coming with strong any bias that this is who we want. There are people in our batch who are who are who are freshers, right? Who probably don't know do not come from a work background. So for them, they are here to explore other aspects. And I think B School is a place. It's a very safe place where you can explore different areas, where you can make mistakes, you can learn, and find what works for you. I think go ahead with.
Right. Harshita is asking, guys, she wants to go into marketing and advertising. Is MU the right choice for her?
So I'd say absolutely. Apart from a lot of marketing profile, company approaching Masters Union with a lot of marketing profiles, now the entire role of marketing, a person who's doing marketing for any company has changed. Now people would love to have a candidate who has an appreciation towards technology, who can use data analytics to reflect back on what are the different marketing strategies that you can develop. So these are hands-on skills that you will gain here. Apart from this, yes, different tools that you will work on, different concepts that you'll work on, relevant papers that you'll be going through. So yeah, absolutely. For marketing profiles as well, I think the Masters Union would be a suitable choice for you.
Okay. I just want to add one more point here. So, at MU, so we have 3 different challenges, right? One is VIP, which is Venture Initiation Program. The other one is a Social Influencing Program. And third is Consulting Program, right? Social Influencer Program is all about you have to become an influencer in any of those platforms, whether it could be LinkedIn, whether it could be Medium, whether it could be, Facebook, any one platform. The question which you have to think is that how do you become an influencer? You become an influencer by understanding the right target audience, understanding what they're looking at, creating content regarding that, right? So that's the whole process. That's how you become an influencer. If you just compare these 3 basic points with marketing, I think your job is done. If you're able to build that for yourself, why any company wouldn't want you as a marketing head, or why they don't want you to be, to be heading their marketing department? Because you've done the whole process, and this is something what is taught in the classrooms, plus you executed by yourself.
Right. Guys, this is one question that I wanted to ask all of you. When we choose a particular B school, we also look at accreditations, we also look at rankings, and let's admit it, this B school does not have any accreditations yet, right? Is that a risk while you are choosing your B schools for admissions?
So I think this concern revolved around everybody's head, even in my cohort and the previous one before we joined Masters Union. And again, we were more, the concern got offsetted just because the kind of masters who had their skin in the game. So the 5 crore fund that Aditya mentioned, the fund is coming from the masters. So they have their skin in the game. Plus, since you have your name associated with the schools, your name, your prestige is also associated with the prestige of the school. So these were the points. And plus, during my time when I took admission, I went through the entire internship report, getting acceptance of this particular curriculum in the industry by top consulting firms like BCG, McKinsey, Bain, which doesn't even go to all the other B schools. If they're coming here in the first year of initiation itself. So that spoke a lot about the kind of curriculum and uniqueness the school has to offer. And again, now that the internship and the placement reports has been published, you can see the kind of ripple that it has created in the market and in everybody's head, right? Why not Masters Union and why it is happening? So I think, again, more than this accreditation, how the kind of people that are involved with the school matter to me more. The kind of industry acceptance is there that mattered more. So yeah.
Right.
One more point to add
Go
to
ahead.
that is,
Go ahead.
yeah. So we like masters is not getting any Indian accreditation because it requires certain guidelines of having certain set of PhD, certain set of faculty, certain type of campus. But to be more agile, more dynamic, and more industry relevant, it is more important for our college to not have that accreditation. However, having said that, we will be applying for, like, our college will be applying for international accreditation. I think AMMA and ACB, the top three golden accreditations after 3 months. Like, they have a minimum requirement of 3 years of inception of a college. After that, our college will be applying for that.
Lovely.
A quick point there that the college gets the accreditation, your certificate, your degree still remains the same. You don't get the accreditation. Yeah.
Right. Aditya, Vivek mentioned about a 5 crore corpus, and I remember speaking to some of your seniors last year, right, who spoke about it in detail. You are also part of the Masters Union Investment Fund. What exactly is this, and why does a B school give so much money to a student?
I think even I had no idea why somebody is giving you 5 CR just to play on the markets. I think so. It's one of the most competitive place to get in. To be honest, like, everyone wants to be there, and once you get in, it is not just that you are investing money here and there, right? You get a set of mentors who are industry veterans, who are in the space of public and private investing. You get those kind of resources. You get access to a lot of new, Bloomberg and different portals where you get information, where you understand those information. And I think the whole process here is the expectation of management is not about that you have to get the best return, right? They've given you the fund. What their expectation is that you need to learn the whole process of investing, right? And the process about investing is not just about, so execution is the last thing, right? Just buying a stock is the last thing. What goes behind that, investing in a stock, that matters the maximum, and that's where the whole learning happens. So what we do is we have divided the whole team. We are an 11-member team. We have a team which looks into public stocks. Then we invest in startups as well, right? At this point in time, we have, I think, 4 investments in startups who are doing really great. And then we invest in cryptocurrencies, we invest in forex. So we have created different assets where anyone who is leading that specific area would do the research. The whole team will do the research, and they do the knowledge transfer, not just to us, to the whole batch as well. So it's a very concentrated learning. It's a very intense, you understand that how portfolio management services are done in India. You understand what are the compliances which are there. So the learning at MUIF, personally for me, it's exponential graph altogether. So you are going through your Masters Union, courses and all that stuff, which is quite hectic as well. And then this is place where you really enjoy as well. When you do a extensive research about something, and then you invest money, and then you see that the market is respecting that research and the stock is going up, and it's a good thing.
Right. So I'll take a few questions that has now come in. As part of the registrations, we have taken this question, Akash Agarwal, when you are asking that what kind of questions are asked to BCom graduates. Do go back to our chat and find that place where we have talked about it in detail. There's another question from Uma Shankar which asks, PGDM course is provided or PGPM. This question was also taken some time back. So Uma, you can go back maybe and look at the chat. There's one question. Okay, Prerna Chandra has asked this question, and you guys can choose to answer this or not. Do the top private B schools that demand to give 100% placements after accepting a huge amount of money really stick with their statements? I mean, I don't know how to decipher this particular question, but I think Prerna means that the claims that they make, whether they're true or not, about the 100% placements that students are getting.
So, like, Prerna, all the B schools, not sure about, because they don't publish any audited reports. But in our case, we have published an audited report, and the auditor is same who audited IIM Ahmedabad placement report. So we have been completely transparent about the number of students who have been placed, what kind of packages they have been offered, and in which kind of firms. So I think the auditing itself gives a testament that what kind of values do master's students have, and what do they promise and what do they deliver to the students.
Right.
Adding on just one point to the Pankaj as well. So, he has taken care about the, placements part. But what I feel is that Master Union provides scholarships as well, merit and need based, which is, I think, which is very relevant because they don't want anyone who makes the cut does not join the course because of the fee, right? So they have the whole understanding that, if you are here, money should not be something which will stop you from entering that space. So I think that's a very, very thoughtful way, to approach the education system here as well.
Right. Ankush is asking what should be the profile of a computer engineer in order to get an edge over other students, because Ankush is afraid that a lot of students who might be applying to this particular institute are computer engineers. So Ankush wants to know, how does he stand out?
So I would suggest Ankur to make sure that every traditional B school that we are applying to, we tend to have the similar approach where we highlight only the academics part of it. What makes Ankur or what makes Vivek is what we have to talk about in the application process. So highlight your uniqueness in the application process, what different work that you have done, even to the extent of if you have used your undergrad degree in computer science, develop a product, went to the market, whether it did well or whether it failed, it doesn't matter. But the whole point of you taking that initiative and going down that road makes you and your entire profile pretty unique. Right. So these are the things I would suggest to highlight in your profile. This would definitely have an edge. And again, structuring of your entire essay is one of the other ways for you to stand out and show your creative edge over the other applicants who are coming from the similar background or similar profile.
Right. Kamal is asking, since it's a tech-based MBA, how difficult it would be for a person with zero tech background or knowledge or experience. And since age is no bar, wouldn't it be disadvantages for freshers in terms of knowledge, experience, and mainly placements? Do you think the guys who with more experiences like you guys are going to scoop the best opportunities?
So I'll take care of the non-tech part. So I come from a completely non-tech background, right? I will not say that it's easy. It's about what do you want to extract from those courses, right? If you are interested to know about technology, you will make your efforts by yourself, and it will not seem that it's tough or it's hectic or it's going crazy for you, because that's what you are here for, right? If you're coming to a B school which is talking about technology, either you have a clear interest in technology and you want to learn, and if you're learning, then nothing will stop you. I think it comes naturally to you.
Right.
I'll take the first and second part. So it would be as difficult as for an engineer to learn discounted cash flow model or consumer behavior. The difficulty remains the same. And considering people coming from a work-ex background, so we do get edge in certain courses where we have a previous work-ex or an undergrad. But apart from that, everything that we are learning is from ground zero.
Yeah.
So I think it should be equal, and it basically brings you at a ground zero level to all the students.
Right. And guys, how do you, bring your significant CV spikes in the interview? You said that interview is a vital factor in your selection to this particular institute. One or two examples to show the spikes in their CVs, respective CVs, and how to do it efficiently so that people who are sitting, across the table to you are interested and excited in your profile. Vanshika is asking this question.
I think this question revolves around our outside CGPA, which we guys are doing right now. We are doing the VIP challenge, which is a startup challenge, and also the consultancy. So I think these two projects really, it's different from other B schools what we do. So maybe this can be one of the factors why which upskills in our CVs.
Right. And is there any supply chain course or any plans going forward that is there? It's a question from Santosh Bhagwan. Yeah.
So we definitely have supply chain management as in one of our courses. Even for that matter, last semester we had a supply chain course, and we have operations management. So supply chain is obviously very, very critical in the upcoming industry, and post-COVID it has become a lot more important. So MU understands that, and because it is very agile, they have introduced all the courses from the relevant master. People who are practicing supply chain, they are coming and teaching that how they are implementing new solutions in the current scenario.
Right. Any of you had a gap year after your graduation?
No.
So yeah, I had a couple of months of gap after after I completed my graduation from Delhi University. So actually at that time I was pursuing chartered accountancy course. So I wanted to take that break and then appear for my intermediate level examination. But again, that did not hamper my application process as long as, since I was able to justify it. Right. So
how
same
should
goes
people
by,
justify it? So for example, in your case, it was this. Say for example, somebody was in general, not finding any work, or they did not get through to the kind of roles that they wanted. How do they justify it in front of them?
Yeah, absolutely. For them also, I'll again repeat the same point. So try to approach this thing and think about it. What different things that you did. Even if you decided, okay, I'm not able to find a suitable job for myself, I might as well go earn some buck by teaching students any of the subjects. So, right. So what you do during that gap period is more important. Try to highlight the high points as well as the low points. You're learning from the low points. During that gap period, I think that should suffice, and that should easily cover for your this thing, the gap and the shortcoming that you must fill.
Right. There's a very
point.
Yeah. Go ahead, Vankar.
Yeah, you said that people were applying and were not getting jobs, right? So that happens with every one of us, right? As long as you are trying, that is what master's unions value. Even if you're failing, it doesn't matter. But as long as you're trying and you're able to justify it, just say that I was trying, I was not able to get a job, and this is the reason why I could not, and why I got the job that you got.
Right.
So that differentiation factor is what master's union are actually looking at. If you said that I was watching Netflix, that becomes a no-no. But if you said I was hustling, I was working on my own startup, which did not pan out, but you were working. That is the quality we value at Masters.
Right. This takes me to this very... Yeah. Go ahead, Aditya.
I think it's more about, what exactly you did during that gap period. Were you just, lazing around, or were you working on yourself? Like, Dipankar mentioned, were you working on an idea, or were you even traveling? Like, I had a gap year from my, when I left upgrad and when I was joining Young India Fellowship, I had a gap period almost 4 months where I was traveling. So I think that those 4 months of just traveling, sheer traveling, gave me a lot of different perspective. I met a lot of new people. So it helped me in terms of different aspects of who I am, right? So it's more important that how do you see those years and what were you doing in those years? I think that is more important. If you're able to communicate that effectively, I think the job is done.
Right. Again, I was mentioning, from Dipankar's answer, there's one question that has come in, that somebody has heard that you guys were building an app during one of your semesters. First of all, is that true? And if that is true, were you guys learning to code?
So that was we do have courses which are how to build an Android app and how to build an iOS app, which will come in the next semester. But our seniors did that, and there are a lot of tools where you actually don't need to require learn coding. So, for example, like Bobble. So there you can create an app equivalent to Facebook, or a website equivalent to Facebook level without having a proper knowledge of coding. So coding is not the only requirement, not the solution for creating an app. You can do that without coding.
All right, guys, I think there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of points that we have touched upon in this particular webinar in the last 1 year. And you guys, being the part of the institute, you guys have given the kind of, idea to a lot of people about what this institute is and what you are signing up for if you are, right? Last piece of advice for students who want to be part of this particular B School, and would you advise B School aspirants to go for Masters Union? And if yes, why?
Sure. So one of the major advice that I would like to give is that before joining any B School, be it Masters Union, IIMs or ISB, just reflect on what your life goals are, short term, long term, and what do you want as an outcome from your MBA. Be it a tag of an IIM, be it placement, be it learnings, being skill development. So give a proper thought about it and then apply to the correct B School. And while applying to Masters Union, have a proper clarity and proper thought structure as to why you're choosing Masters Union. I think that's one of the most important criteria we look for in the people. And yeah, definitely should apply to master's union.
I think anyone who's applying for any B school, I think should start with the first principle that why do they want to do a master? Why do they want to pursue an MBA? I think that's, if you're able to get the right answer for that, on top of that, there would be multiple questions like where do you want to go? How do you want to approach it? Whether you want to go with a conventional style of schooling, whether you want to try something new, or whether you want to try an online MBA altogether. Like there are multiple options where you get, and then out of the plethora of options what you have, you figure out what works best for you. Whether it's more about understand the new technologies which are coming in, or are you looking for a established brand which has a legacy of 50 years. It's going to be your choice at the end of the day, right? It's going to be your money, your time, your effort, and your output. So you have to think through that. And while we're coming here and talking about Masters Union, it's more about we are telling that the same questions what you guys had, we also had similar questions back in our head exactly 1 year like down the line from here, right? And we took that risk, and I think it has worked in our favor. And the kind of experience we've had, it's been phenomenal being here, right? There's nothing which we regret so far, and it's great. So think through it, start with the first principles, and I think take it forward from there.
So I think Aditya and Dipankar by now, they have by and large covered every single point. Have a clear-cut defined career objective. There's one additional point that I'd like to mention here is that also highlight the point how you are going to add value to the campus. It's really important for a student to understand how the student can add value to the campus and can gain value in return. Apart from that, if I talk about my experience so far here at Masters Union, it has not been anything short of a phenomenal journey so far, regardless of how short it has been. Barely 5 months from August till January. Definitely the kind of diverse profile, the kind of diversity and different people that you meet here, the kind of opportunity to network with industry leaders, where a CXO from Gartner can take a lift, come on the ground floor and take a lecture. So this kind of a place, if you're up for a really high energy place, you're up for a really high demanding course, I would say that Masters Union is the right choice for you.
Right. Nusha, last word.
I would say you should apply. Why? Because of the unique curriculum that we offer. I think be it a CXO session or be it an industrialist, be it an mentorship program, especially for the freshers, do not worry if you don't have an experience, because here we don't only focus on academics. The masters exactly through the real-time the problems which we work on. So this itself is going to be a really good experience where you're going to learn a lot of things. So I think you guys should apply.
Absolutely. And, this is why we wanted to have this webinar, so that, as Aditya mentioned, he also had the same sort of doubts and questions in his mind. And I'm sure a lot of these students who are watching this particular webinar, and a lot of parents also who are watching this webinar, or maybe the students who will show this webinar to their parents, will get some answers and would allow their kids to, at least have a look and understand whether this B school fits their bill. If you want to know more about this particular institute, there is a link in the chat box that my team has been putting out. There's a link in the description box as well. Go figure that out. Talk to these guys that you can see on screen for more information, and do let us know in the following webinars or videos what you want us to make next. Thank you very much, guys, and have a very good night.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, guys.